Good evening, glad that you are watching Kenya's fastest growing television. On the news tonight. Tonight, IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati faces a barrage of questions as 7 petitions directly touch on his competency and integrity.
The entire KIM's kits were corrupted in order to achieve a result in favor of Mr. Ruto.
Directorate of Criminal Investigations urges patience from Kenyans as investigations on the death of an IEBC returning officer begins.
And no case of murder or manslaughter has been reported here at this Nanyuki station.
The leaders of a party that was rooting for different presidential candidates win continued to wash their dirty linen in public.
Above Kenya tuko na 80 political parties. Hii inaonyeshana kwamba mkikosana kidogo ama mzozo kidogo wa principle, mtu anaenda kuanzisha chama chake.
Defaulters of HELB loan breathe a sigh of relief as a court stops the loan board from collecting fines that exceed the borrowed principal amount.
I had a loan around 250,000, but to date they have doubled my loan because I am out of employment.
Anne Wairimu is our sign language interpreter. Good evening and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Abu Bakr Abdullahi. To our top story, and the government has assured Nakuru residents that the recent reported swine flu outbreak in Elementaita ward has been contained and that there is no cause for alarm. And as Chichi Josephine now reports, the flu was first reported on July 27 this year at a health center in Elementaita ward after a large number of children below 1 year presented the flu symptoms, including high fever, difficulty in breathing and prolonged cough.
Nakuru County Public Health Chief Officer Dr. Daniel Wainaina says adequate mitigation measures have been put in place to control the spread of the virus to other areas and also from being spread between humans and animals.
Hii ripoti ilitoka katika eneo la Elementaita katika zahanati ya Kiptangwanyi. Tuliweza kuchukua samples za kupeleka katika maabara, na baada ya siku chache tukapata matokeo ambayo yalionyesha baadhi ya watoto walikuwa na virusi vya H1N1 ambayo ni inajulikana kama homa ya nguruwe ama swine flu kwa kizungu. Tuliweza kuweka mikakati ya kukabiliana na homa hii na kwa kwenda pale katika eneo la Elementaita kwa kuhamasisha wananchi wa pale. Homa hii kwa wakati huu ningesema kwamba ile idadi ya maambukizi mapya imepungua kwa kiwango kikubwa.
Currently, only 8 children below 1 year of age are admitted with mild signs of the virus. As of Tuesday, they were being treated using antibiotics and by ensuring that they are well fed and warm.
Kwa wakati huu tuko na watoto 6 katika hospitali ya Kiptangwanyi na 2 katika hospitali yetu kuu ya Rufaa ambao wanaendelea kupokea matibabu na wanaendelea vizuri.
Health officials are, however, calling on the members of the public to maintain good hygienic measures, including good ventilation, proper nutrition and proper sanitation to fully eradicate the signs of the flu.
Tumezidi kuhimiza wananchi waweze kuwa waangalifu, hasa watoto ambao ni wachanga wakipata homa waweze kuwaleta kwa hospitali ili waweze kuhudumiwa kwa muda ambao unafaa. Na tunahimiza kwamba wananchi wetu waweze kuzingatia lishe bora na hali ya usafi, kunawa mikono, kuhakikisha mazingira yako masafi.
Chichi Josephine, TV 47.
Tonight, IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati's legal team is burning the midnight oil to file its response to 7 petitions lodged against the IEBC chair and the electoral body at the Supreme Court. Chebukati's main petitioner, Raila Odinga, has tasked the IEBC chair to explain why he omitted 27 constituencies in his final tally, whose outcome Odinga claims could have affected the outcome of the presidential election results. Chebukati's integrity has also been questioned.
So Is it a unanimous decision by the Commission?
All eyes will be on IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati and the electoral body IEBC when his legal team, led by former Attorney General Professor Githu Muigai, defends the credibility of the contested August 9 election and Chebukati's integrity in the process. The IEBC chair second presidential petition face-off with Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga will be tasked to prove whether he colluded with President-elect William Ruto to manipulate election results, as claimed by Odinga and an affidavit by former Permanent Secretary John Githongo on a video confession of a UDA hack team that manipulated Form 34As and uploaded the data on the IEBC public portal.
This one, I can tell you, is a bombshell. And we've got so many smoking guns. And I think at the conclusion of this petition, you're going to have a determination in favor of Raila Odinga.
The omission of 27 constituencies, as claimed by Odinga and Mother Karua in their petition, which was not part of the final tally, will be a burden for Chebukati, as it forms the basis of the majority petitions, which argue led to the switch-off at the Bomas of Kenya on public display. According to Odinga, the 27 constituencies would have changed the outcome of the presidential results.
We are accusing Chebukati of criminal conduct, of transgressions that amount to violation of leadership and integrity requirements as spelled out in our Constitution.
Chebukati will be on the spot in court on the variance of voter turnout versus votes cast, which petitioner Okia Omtata and Odinga argue do not add up, factoring 140,138 untallied votes, which Chebukati failed to account for.
The entire Kim's kits were corrupted in order to achieve a result in favor of Mr. Ruto. I have never seen a most corrupt election in our country. In fact, if elections are held in a manner like was held in the 9th of August, there is no use to have elections.
Chebukati will not only be defending the missing numbers, as argued by Azimio, which they want him to produce in court, but also defend his decision to declare William Ruto as president-elect, which the majority of the petitioners claim did not attain the 50+1 vote threshold. Apol Kamau, TV47.
Now, Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga and his deputy Martha Karua have filed a petition at the Supreme Court challenging the declaration of President-elect William Ruto as the winner in the 9th of August polls. 8 other petitioners are also seeking the nullification of William Ruto as the president-elect, while Chama cha Kazi leader Moses Kuria seeks to counter Azimio's petition. Flora Limuki has the details.
ODM chief and presidential candidate Raila Odinga is for the third time in the corridors of justice, this time challenging the declaration of William Ruto as the president-elect. In a case against IEBC, its chairperson Wafula Chebukati, commissioners and William Ruto, Azimio One Kenya coalition wants the court to declare the presidential election results announced on August 15th null and void on this basis. That Chebukati did not tally and verify the count before declaring the results of the presidential election, that the declared presidential results lacked transparency, accountability and verifiability, that Ruto did not achieve the 50%+1 requirement to be declared the winner, and the division within the IEBC commissioners. Apart from Azimio One Kenya coalition, 8 other petitioners, including lobby groups and activists, have also filed petitions at the Supreme Court. The petitioners include Busia Senator-elect and activist Okia Omtata, former presidential aspirant Reuben Kigame, outgoing Gatundu South lawmaker Moses Kuria, Youth Advocacy Africa, Helef Halifa, John Joroge Kamau, Daniel Kariuki Ngari, and Julia Nyokabi Shege. The Chama cha Kazi party leader cited the violence witnessed during last Monday's declaration at the Bomas of Kenya as his reason for challenging Azimio's case in court. Couriers accused Saitabao Kanchori, the national agent for Azimio Coalition, and Kajiado Senator Ledamo Lekina for physically assaulting Wafula Chebukati. Busia Senator-elect Okiya Omtatah also wants the result of the presidential election dismissed, stating that no candidate achieved the 50% +1 threshold as stipulated in the Constitution. Renowned public interest litigant HELB Khalifa, whose petition in 2017 saw the Supreme Court nullify the presidential election results, now wants the court to order an audit of all the electoral technology deployed in the August election and for all petitioners to be granted access to the KIMS kits, claiming malpractices which affected the credibility of the election. After failing to secure clearance to run for the country's top seat, Ruben Kigame is seeking to declare the nomination and clearance of 4 presidential candidates as null and void. A lobby group called Youth Advocacy Group is calling for the nullification of the presidential election, saying they have evidence that there was manipulation of the poll outcome to ensure a candidate achieved the 50% +1 threshold. Another lobby group comprising of John Njoroge and Nyokabi Shege is seeking the court's clarification on whether IEBC chairman Wafula Chebukati was wrong in excluding other commissioners in the final tallying. The 7-judge bench has until Monday, 5th of September, to deliver the verdict that is in line with the 14 days timeline put in place by the Constitution after filing of the petitions. Flora Limuki, TV 47.
Still at the corridors of justice, and 3 petitioners have moved to the High Court to seek to have the Elections Act number 24 of 2011 declared as unconstitutional, null and void. The petitioners argue that the section purports to confer power to any other entity other than IEBC chairman Wafula Chebukati to declare a candidate as validly elected president upon a recount of ballot cast. The petition comes at the backdrop of a push by Azimio coalition party to have vote cast in some areas recounted.
3 petitioners have moved to the High Court, seeking to stop the court from announcing Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential candidate Raila Odinga and his running mate Martha Karua as president-elect and deputy president-elect, should they win in the election petition before the court. The 3, Ashford Komembogo, Eric Githinji and Michael Ochieng, argue that the Supreme Court does not have the power to call a presidential election. An election court may by order direct the commission to issue a certificate of election to a president, a member of parliament or a member of a county assembly if upon recount of the ballots cast, the winner is apparent and that the winner is not found to have committed an election offense. This comes after the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has already issued a certificate to President-elect William Ruto.
Under Section 84, read together with Article 163 and 140 of the Constitution, it gives the Supreme Court power as an election court to firstly have the power to order for a recount of the votes which were cast, and secondly to also declare a winner, or rather to direct the commission and the chair of the commission to declare a winner.
Deputy President William Ruto, the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission IEBC, might be affected by the court's decision on the matter. Azimio la Umoja party, led by its presidential candidate Raila Odinga, has moved to the Supreme Court to, among other issues, seek the nullification of the August 9th presidential election and also ask for the recount of votes cast in some areas, since the election process did not follow the Constitution according to them. Azimio flag bearer also seeks an order for invalidation of Ruto's election and the IEBC to be compelled to organize a fresh presidential election in strict conformity with the Constitution and the Elections Act. Paul Kirobi, TV 47, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, Laikipia County DCI boss Onesmus Towet has dismissed allegations that Gishugu constituency returning officer Geoffrey Gitobu in Kirinyaga County was possibly killed. According to Towet, the death of the officer was sudden and investigations have begun to determine the cause of his death. This comes a day after IEBC, through its social media, stated that a group of goons attempted to attack on their officers preparing for the presidential election petition. Cheptoboit with the details.
Laikipia County DCI boss Onesmus Stewart has dispelled rumors of possible murder of Gishugu constituency Kirinyaga County IEBC returning officer Geoffrey Gitobo. According to Stewart, the officer's death was sudden and an inquiry into the same has been opened.
So no person has killed another one, and no person has been brought here that he has killed another one. And no case of murder or manslaughter has been reported here at this Nanyuki station.
It is said that Gitobo was on a 3-day off from his workstation in Gishugu and had visited his family in Nanyuki and was expected back to work on Wednesday. Gitobo is said to have collapsed at Nanyuki IEBC offices where he had allegedly gone to print some documents. He was rushed to Cottage Hospital where he was pronounced dead.
We are investigating the cause of that death. We are opening an inquiry, which already have opened an inquiry. The post-mortem will be done tomorrow at 9 o'clock. So we shall be knowing from tomorrow at 9 o'clock what is the cause of his death. For now, it is a sudden death.
This comes days after Embakasi East constituency returning officer Daniel Mbolu Musyoka was found murdered in Kajiado County. Investigation into Musyoka's death is ongoing after CCTV footage on his last trucks were retrieved. Meanwhile, religious leaders from Meru County have condemned the killing of IEBC officers, asking relevant authorities to protect the officials.
We condemn with the strongest terms possible the murder, harassment and bodily injury of the IEBC officials in different parts of the country. It is sad even to think of people who sacrifice this time to see their elections be killed mercilessly for perceived misdeeds. It's wrong, evil, and no one should die because of elections.
Ni kusikitisha sana kama baada ya kufanya kazi, wafanyakazi hao wameuliwa. Hawakuuliwa wakiwa kazini, lakini ni baada ya uchaguzi na tujui ni katika under which circumstance. Kwa hiyo tunaomba kuwa wale ambao wamebaki, ingawa mtu ametoa maoni yake kikazi, wapewe ulinzi sawa na wasitishwe, na serikali ni jukumu lao kuwalinda wafanyakazi wote wa IEBC.
In a separate incident, IEBC yesterday, through its Twitter handle, wrote that a group of goons attempted to attack their personnel preparing for the presidential election petitions. Cheptoboit, TV 47.
Now, elsewhere, the frosty relationship between Roots Party leader Professor George Wajackoyah and his deputy Justina Wamae continues to deepen, as Wamae now reveals that it is Wajackoyah who first blocked her following allegations through a letter by the party circulated on social media stating that she had blocked her boss and other party officials from contacting her. In an interview with TV47's Muigai William, Wamae maintains that she has no issue with her boss, none known to her, further stating that she is yet to make up her mind on whether or not to face the party's disciplinary committee as demanded also in the letter.
The fallout between Roots Party leader George Wajackoyah and his deputy Justina Wamae is now playing out publicly. But we are joined by Justina Wamae to explain what is really happening at the Roots Party. Thank you for your time here at TV47. First things first, are you in communication with the party?
Yes, I am in communication with the party. You know, communication is through letters, emails, social media these days. So the letter that was sent on social media is part of communication. So I'm in communication with the party.
You have not blocked some of the officials as it's being alleged?
It's alleged, but I'm in communication with the party and we've been discussing very many things, albeit we have different opinions. So that is why we have some conflict. But you know, difference in opinion doesn't mean that something is bad. We need to move away from the politics of if you do not agree with someone in the party, you move out. William, we have 80 political parties in this country, as opposed to what we have in the developed world. The Democratic Party, the Republicans, Conservatives have been there for over 200 years. What have they been doing different? Not to say that they do not have conflict internally. They have. but they manage, they resolve their conflicts, and there's also opportunity for you to give your opinions without being seen like you've been bought by someone else. That is part of democracy.
Are you agreeing there's a fallout between you and your party leader? What is happening at Roots Party?
From where I sit personally as Justina, I do not have any fallout with him. It's just a difference of opinion and principle. Remember, William, the first time I went to Roots Party, I sent in my application. There was an interview. And during an interview, there's a question you're always asked. Do you have any question to the panelist? And the question I posed was, what is the end game? And it was very clear that the end game was to popularize the party and popularize our manifesto, which was anchored on legalizing and regulation of marijuana. So that is what I stuck to. That has been the script. But the moment the office of the party leader came off that they were supporting our competitor, I felt we were leaving our script, we were leaving our direction and our focus. And that is why all the time people used to ask me, are you a project? In the eyes of Kenyans, they believed you were a project because one day it was mentioned on TV by the president-elect that during the manifesto, we were parachuted to KICC. Those utterances put us in the light of coming off as an Azimio project.
Were you a project?
When I went for that interview as Justina, we were not a project because I was informed we are going to stick it out to the very end because we had our own ideas. We had our own principles as a party. So we were not a project. Where I sit as Justina, I believed we were not a project. It is only sudden that when my party leader spoke about Azimio, and it was quoted in all media houses, and Kamau, it was not once, it was 3 times. I never spoke about it. There's a constituency of people who came to Roots Party because of Justina. They wanted to hear my voice. They wanted to hear whether I've eaten money as it's alleged in politics. That is where when the party leader gave his statement as an individual, the party spokesman gave the statement of the party, I felt it was important for me to speak out because I'm a woman, I'm a youth. Many of the times women and youth are seen as a top-up in these political parties, setup. But I came in there with one thing, I'm independent-minded. I ran for Mavoko. 2018, I applied for a PS position. I've always been independent-minded. And when I was being picked for this position, I believe those are the qualities they looked into.
Fair enough, fair enough. We are done with the general election now, and you made a statement, something that the party is not comfortable with. You congratulated the president-elect, who is Deputy President William Ruto. How does that sit from where you sit? How is it for you? Why will you congratulate President-elect and the party that you are in is not comfortable with it?
Kamau, there's something in communication we call verbal and non-verbal. So non-verbal is written. My party leader in Bomas congratulated the president-elect. We saw them, they took a photo. He went to the extent to say, "Wewe ni mwanaume bwana," and na wakasalimiana and a photo was taken. I took the cue that he had congratulated the president-elect. Myself, I did the same. Because when I look at the global context, geopolitics, everyone else was congratulating. And remember, in Bomas, we were seated with my party leader. And when the 4 agents were called, chief agents, to sign, our chief agent went and he signed that he was satisfied with the results. If at all our chief agent was not satisfied, if at all the whole process had challenges, our chief agent would have briefed us. But we sat there, all of us, the 3 of us, and when he went, we asked him, umetoka wapi? Nilikuwa nimeitwa kusign form 34C. You get? So the moment our chief agent signed, and he didn't sign on his own mandate, it was for the party. We had accepted that we had lost the election. That is one thing. And he congratulated him verbally. Mine was non-verbal. So what is the problem now? What we're avoiding, or what I'm avoiding, Kamau, is that politics need to move away from coming off like you're not being honest, like you're deceitful, like you want to bash an institution because of your failures.
Fair enough. My last question to you, we have seen the statement made by the party, and also you responded to the same. Among the issues, you're being told you returned the official car and other things you're being told to hand over and also face the disciplinary committee. From where you sit, will this happen? Will you face the disciplinary committee? Will you return some of the party properties?
Let me first clarify. I have never been given a car or accommodation. I was named as a running mate in April 20th. And that same week, towards the end of April, allow me to quote a media house. Tuko did an interview on me, on what I've been doing. I am in the business of excavation and supply of building materials. William, if we own machines, can I not own a car? My car was taken, a photo was taken of the car and what I drive. So let me say it is misleading to Kenyans that I was given a car and I was given a home. I have not moved where I've been living. My neighbors in Utawala know where I live and I still live there. So there is nothing to return. Maybe in someone's dream, they can withdraw that. But I'm still consulting because I need to know. Friday is not here, so let's wait for Friday.
What is the future of Roots Party?
Okay, the party leader...
As the deputy party leader.
No, let me say this. It was clear that the party leader owns the party. So for me, I believe being the owner of something, you can do whatever you want with it. So he is wiser in terms of what is the direction of the party. Okay. Yes.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you, William.
Well, that is our very own William Muigai, who earlier on spoke to the Roots Party Deputy Presidential running mate, Justina Wamai. Moving on, an anti-corruption crusader, John Githongo, has filed an affidavit at the Supreme Court claiming to have received information on the alleged rigging of the 9th of August polls. Githongo says a young man who he is yet to reveal approached him in his Nairobi apartment, claiming to have been part of a rigging scheme in the just concluded polls. And as Elizabeth Mutuku now reports, the Kenya Kwanza legal team is already preparing for a legal battle.
In his petition filed at the Supreme Court, anti-corruption crusader John Githongo claims IEBC systems were hacked and results manipulated in favor of President-elect William Ruto. Githongo alleging to have information from the whistleblower that a 56-man team obtained Forms 34A from Kim's Kids, edited them before uploading them to the IEBC portal.
The President-elect got was through a thorough, transparent, credible, verifiable and accountable process, so that IEBC truly improved from the errors that it had made that were flagged out in the 2017 Raila case. So Kenya Kwanza team, or UDA, President-elect and his team is very confident that all the issues that have been raised are neither here nor there in all the elections that have in all the election petitions that have been filed as of yesterday.
The former PS, in his 22-page affidavit, claims a young man approached him revealing he participated in hacking activities under supervision of 10 supervisors who were led by President-elect William Ruto's allies, former CS Davis Chirchir, Dennis Itumbi, who is a communication strategist, John Kandi, John Mutegi, among others, who managed the other 46 tasked with accessing, entering and manipulating the IEBC portal. He says can only reveal the identity of the said young man in the court of law and in camera. The young man, Githongo says, approached him in his Nairobi apartment, saying he had some information of national interest to share with him. The source, however, feared to share information in the court for fear of his life, though Githongo says his voice has been distorted in a recording. The Inuka Kenyan CC CEO added that the team's ICT experts had access to the IEBC back-to-end servers, which were working in tandem with Smartmatic, the company that won the tender to provide technology for polls.
To be precise, I believe that for every allegation that has been raised, in all the petitions, we will not, the defense team that has already been put in place is not going to leave anything to chance, not even to questions that are supposed to be answered by IEBC. So the defense team is ready to that is the UDA party, and in particular William Samoei Ruto's lawyers, are looking into each and every allegation that has been raised, including the prayers.
Githungu says that some IEBC officials were involved in the rigging scheme. In his affidavit, he says the team had access to the back end of the IEBC server and was able to manipulate Form 34As. However, the Kenya Kwanza team is raising against time with over 23 weighty matters, which were raised by Azimio One Kenya team at hand and expected to prepare a strong defense within 4 days. Some of the key issues the Kenya Kwanza legal team are set to brave, including the tallying of Form 34As and Form 34Bs, rigging claims by the 56-member team, the constitutionalism of the process by IEBC team, rejected votes, scrutiny of the KIMS kit, among other issues. Elizabeth Mutuko, TV47, Nairobi.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Usiyakubalie maumivu ya misuli kukatiza ratiba yako. Kaluma Pain Balm ni dawa ya kusugua iliyotengenezwa kutoka kwa miche maalum ili kutuliza maumivu ya misuli. Kaluma Pain Balm. Maumivu ya kizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Tricent School of Medical Health Science and Technology is a premier training institute for market-driven courses. With state-of-the-art facilities, competent and dedicated members of staff, and linkages with the medical industry, you are assured of a bright future when you study with us. Enroll today in our campuses at Juja, Nairobi West, Kisumu, and Homa Bay.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Let's get to more news now. And the swearing in of the 45 county governors-elect and their deputies is expected to start at 9 a.m. and conclude at 2 p.m. on Thursday. The ceremonies shall occur in public ceremony before a High Court judge. The Assumption of Office Committee that was formed to plan for the ceremonies in specific counties are positive that most of the preparations have already been completed. Stanley Nyaringita has more.
Last-minute preparations for the official swearing-in of the 45 county governors and their deputies are on a high countrywide, with less than 48 hours to Thursday. According to the Assumption of the Office of Governor Act 2012, governors are expected to take the oath on the first Thursday, after 10 days of the declaration of the results by IEBC. The process of planning the transfer of power and oathing ceremony in the respective counties was put under the custody of an Assumption of Office Committee, which is chaired by the County Secretary. The committee will, among others, hand over the instruments of power, which include the county's flag and constitution. In Murang'a County, preparations to swear in Governor-elect Irungu Kang'ata at the Ihura Stadium are in top gear. County Secretary Patrick Mukuria said the committee is working to reconcile all the details about the county, which include the assets and liabilities.
Kilele ya hiyo sherehe itakuwa ni wakati atakuwa anapatiwa zile instrument of power ambao tutapeana ile bendera ya county na ile muhuri ya county pia tutampatia constitution ili kuonyesha kwamba utawala umetoka pande hii umeenda mahali ingine. Kwa hivyo tunauliza watu members of the public wajitokeze kwa wingi.
In Machakos County, Things are looking spick and span as the residents await for the governor-elect Wavinya Ndeti to take her oath.
All preparations are ready and we are ready to go. The committee has been working day and night to ensure the celebrations and the transition continue very well. And I'm happy to report that so far so good. And we are ready to receive all visitors, and we are already even transitioning in the new government.
Meanwhile, in Uasin Gishu County, the swearing-in ceremony of Jonathan B. Chelilim will begin at 10 a.m. This is according to the County Secretary, Edwin Bet.
Inafaa kuwa hiyo ceremony ya swearing-in inafanywa kutoka saa 4 hadi saa 8. Haifai kupita hapo. Kwa hivyo tunataka kuomba wananchi wetu wakuje. Mipango yote iko tayari, maandalizi imepangwa. Tutakuwa na jaji wa mahakama kuu ambaye atakuwa yeye ndiye atapreside over the ceremony, the swearing-in bit. Na kutakuwa na mambo mengine ambayo yatafanyika kuhusiana na hiyo procedure.
The same script will play out at Mukunguni in Lamu County, where Governor-elect Issa Timami will be sworn in. The county's head of enforcement, Ali Sharif Mohammed, promised sufficient security in the area.
Sisi kama enforcement tuko na kazi ya kufanya gwaride ambao mheshimiwa atakagua hiyo gwaride la heshima. Tutaimba wimbo wa taifa na wimbo wa taifa wa East Africa, alafu tufanye sherehe kidogo ndio tumalizie. Tunaomba ushirikiano kutoka kwa wananchi ili tufanikishe shughuli hii muhimu.
The swearing-in ceremony for Kakamega and Mombasa counties will be held on a later date after the elections were postponed by IEBC. Stanley Nyaringita, TV47, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, former Makueni Governor Professor Kivutha Kibwana has ditched Raila Odinga's political camp in favor of President-elect William Ruto-led Kenya Kwanza coalition. In a statement, President-elect William Ruto welcomed Kivutha Kibwana to the Kenya Kwanza team, saying that he will join the legal team in the ongoing presidential election petition. Kibwana had served Makueni residents for 2 terms as governor and launched his senatorial bid to replace Mutula Kilonzo, but lost to Dan Manzo in his move to join Deputy President William Ruto. This comes after a number of elected leaders and influential groups decamped to Ruto's camp after he was declared the winner of the 9th of August presidential election. Moving on, a court has ordered the stopping of the Higher Education Loans Board from collecting fines that exceed the borrowed amount. That has been received with joy by many graduates across the country. The new ruling prohibits the loan body from charging fines on delay or default payments that exceed the amounts originally borrowed.
University graduates struggling to repay their higher education loans have celebrated the latest court directive stopping the Higher Education Loans Board HELB from charging fines that exceed the original loan amount. The directive was issued after 3 students named Anne Mogure, Davis Nguthu and Wangoi Washira moved to court to protest the exorbitant fines their HELB loans have accumulated over the years, exceeding the original amounts they had borrowed from the National Higher Education Lender. Boniface Otieno is one such graduate who, due to unemployment, has been unable to repay his loan of 500,000 shillings. He says since he has not been paying, his due loan has magically doubled since he graduated from the University of Nairobi some years back.
When I finished my degree, I had a loan around 250,000. But to date, they have doubled my loan. Before COVID, I was in employment and I was paying 10,000 per month. So I was trying to pay, but after retrenchment, I defaulted in payment. So when I went to my portal to check the balance, it was around 450,000.
Others like Jojo Molo, who studied business administration at Rongo University, blame inability to pay HELB on rampant unemployment.
Maybe I don't know how I will pay them,
HELB inafaa kwa free ama as a grant. Mtoto akipita from form 4 akienda university, ile pesa yote anapewa ya kusomea huko ekwe free.
Samson Murathe is an education financing expert, and he agrees that the court order is a step in the right direction.
Because the penalties are based on people who are not paying, or rather non-performing loans, not active loans. So when you talk about penalties, remember they are piling penalties on people already not paying their initial amounts or the principal amounts. So I think to some extent is a measure that was not really productive for HELB. Because if I do, and what many people used to do is once the penalties have piled too much, you just forfeit paying, and they keep piling up every day.
Just months after President Uhuru Kenyatta saved the loaner and shot down a bill seeking to scrap interest fees on HELB loans, the Higher Education Loans Board now finds itself between a rock and a hard place. The two-sided argument is that if HELB continues to charge these 5,000 shilling fees, many young people who are not yet employed, yet they owe money to HELB, will continue to suffer. Yet on the other side, if HELB does not collect this amount, many young people may be tempted to default and not pay their HELB loans, which eventually might mean that the board and the loan fund collapses. Waris Kimathi, TV47 in Nairobi.
Now, day schools in Kakamega and Mombasa counties will close for one day to enable residents participate in elections for the gubernatorial races in the two counties. This is after the Ministry of Education consulted with IEBC. The voting will take place on August 29th, 2022.
The IEBC has pronounced itself with regard to the elections basically in Kakamega and Mombasa, and some parliamentary ones and MCA ones. But the ones that concern us in education mostly are the big ones in Kakamega and Mombasa. We have agreed, having consulted Mr. Chebukati and Mr. Hussein Marjan, that as far as the polling centers are concerned, we are happy to allow them to use our facilities in both primary and secondary schools. But we have also agreed that the tallying centers, which may require more than one day, we have agreed mutually that they should be taken to tertiary institutions, and the press release will be coming shortly to say so. In terms of our children, because we don't want them to miss any more time, we have also agreed as a government that the boarding schools shall not be closed, they will not be interfered with. Those that are polling centers, the children will remain in their boarding houses, in the fields and the libraries. As far as day schools are concerned, we think one day is not bad enough. The children can stay at home on Monday the 29th and report back to school on Tuesday the 30th. For those mixed schools, I'm told that there are a few schools which are both boarding and day. The same will apply. The day scholars should remain at home for that Monday to report the following day. The boarding scholars should remain in school and remain away from the polling areas. I think we have all to be very mature about this, and I want to continue to thank the head teachers and principals that we really must now support our children as we walk through a very, very tight schedule. May I very kindly urge the teachers in the schools to be available, especially for those boarding schools where the children may require to be regimented a little bit more than usual, so that they are assisted to galvanize the day.
Now, Tracy Chirop's dream of becoming a medical doctor is a mirage. The Form 4 student is suffering from sickle cell anemia. The disease forced her to suspend her education, consequently missing out on sitting for the national exams, KCSE, in March this year due to developing eyesight complications. Our reporter Boniface Barasa visited her at their home and has filed the following report.
This is Kibomet area on the outskirts of Kitale town in Trans Nzoia County. When we arrive, we find Tracy deep in her studies, despite staying at home for a long time due to sickle cell anemia. Tracy's mother, Frida Chebet, tells us how the ailment has crippled her daughter's education and forced her to stay at home.
Tracy alizaliwa 2002. After 4 years, tukarealize kwamba ako sickle cell anemia. Tumekuwa in and out of the hospital, tumekazana hivyo clinics, tukipata dawa, ako kwa madawa, lakini imefika mahali tukaambiwa penye imefika the bone marrow has become weak, tunafaa tuende India. Alikuwa anatakana kufanya mtihani yake this year March 2022, but hakuweza kufanya kwa sababu aligonjeka hadi akapoteza sight.
The cost of medication gave them sleepless nights, with recent developments requiring them to travel to India for a bone marrow transplant.
Kwa wale wote mwenye mnanitazama, naomba usaidizi, niende nitibiwe, nirudi, ni achieve dream yangu ya kuwa daktari.
Mtoto anataka kusoma. Tunauliza wenye wanaweza kutusaidia, kama wanaweza kutusaidia aende atibiwe ili arudi mwaka kesho afanye mtihani yake. Juu anataka sana kufanya mtihani yake but hana hiyo uwezo.
Dr. Silas Wambulwa says there is an increase in cases of sickle cell anemia among children in Trans Nzoia County.
Like in our county, currently we have around 300 children who are suffering from sickle cell.
And after one undergoes the transplant, does it become manageable? Dr. Silas Wambulwa is a medical specialist.
She will survive because if you look at the operations, the children we've referred to India, mostly they have survived. After any transplant, be it a kidney transplant, you know you are getting these cells from another person, so definitely your body will try to resist. So there are specific diet you are given, there are specific drugs you are given just to suppress your immune system, not to fight against the new cells that have been implanted.
As Tracy continues to battle sickle cell anemia, her prayer is to see her get medication and be able to get back to school to continue her studies and achieve her dream of becoming a doctor. Boniface Barasa, TV47, Trans Nzoia County.
Now, learning was today paralyzed at a primary school in Gatundu North, Kiambu County after tens of parents stormed the school to eject the school head over alleged mismanagement and embezzlement of funds. Armed with twigs and placards painted with anti-school head writings, the furious parents brought learning to a standstill after they occupied the school with all manners of chants. Take a look.
Hataki kucoordinate na komiti yake, hataki kucoordinate na wasasi, hataki hata walimu tunasikiaga hakuna coordination mzuri kati ya mwalimu mkuu na walimu wenzake. Pia wachukue mwalimu waende naye. Juu hatutakubali kuongozwa na mwalimu mkorofi mwenye ni mkora, mwenye kukula pesa ya wasasi na kutumia pesa vibaya.
Kama mimi kwangu alininyang'anya mattress na saduku juu nimekataa kulipa tuition. Nikamwambia tuition inafaa kulipa mtoto mwenye sio wa boarding. Sasa wakati hiyo boarding imeenda watu wakisubuana na mwalimu, performance imeenda chini sana. Ukiona vyenye ile masomo ilikuwa ya kitabo kama miaka 5 imeenda, hakuna masomo unakuta.
Now let's get to the world of business and count the cost. Now, Equity Group has posted a 36% increase in its net profit to 24.4 billion shillings in the first half of its financial year, as well as increased lending and strong performance of non-funded income. According to the Group MD and CEO, Dr. James Mwangi, the growth in income has been pushed by trade missions to the Democratic Republic of Congo, which has since triggered trade finance and forex trading from across border deals. Meresia Alo has more details on this story.
Equity Bank's gross trade finance revenue grew by 64% to 2.6 billion Kenya shillings, up from 1.6 billion Kenya shillings, while trade finance related lending grew by 106% to 34.4 billion Kenya shillings, up from 16.7 billion Kenya shillings. Also, trade finance guarantees and off-balance sheet items grew by 62% to 158.4 billion Kenya shillings, up from 97.7 billion Kenya shillings. Strong returns from loans to the government and private sector caused the interest income to increase by 12.2 billion shillings to 54.9 billion Kenyan shillings. Additionally, the bank observed a 24.6% increase in non-funded income to 25.8 billion shillings. In a comparable time last year, profits for the lender increased from 17.9 billion shillings to what was termed as a 28% increase in revenue from lending to the government and customers. While speaking during an investor briefing at their headquarters in Nairobi, the group's managing director said the bank's geographical expansion and business diversification has contributed to the growth trajectory experienced in the just released half-year results.
We are guided by trade routes. So if it is necessary to occupy a trade route so that we enable it, we facilitate it, where is a trade pattern, it will be good.
Equity Bank is now committed to moving from low-earning assets to high-earning assets. However, the liquidity rate still remains at 53%. The bank is doubling its productivity in agriculture to ensure business remains economically productive. Alo Meresia, TV47 in Nairobi.
Thank you, Meresia Alo, for that report. Now, Kenyans could be forced to pay more at the pump from October as the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority is set to review the Kenya Pipeline Company storage and pipeline tariffs. While addressing the media in Kisumu County during a stakeholder meeting, EPRA Director General Daniel Kiptoo has addressed the issue after KPC applied for an application to review the tariffs to boost the company's revenue base and help upgrade the infrastructure and enhance efficiency.
The data does not belong to KPC, it belongs to the stakeholders. That's why we are here.
It's for services rendered. You just have to check.
And that the application eventually is owned by
one of the notable changes is we're looking to unbundle KPC's tariff. Historically, we've had one tariff both for pipeline transportation and storage. We're looking to unbundle those so that then we have a separate tariff for pipeline transport and a separate tariff for storage. What is important is for us to be able to moderate as per our mandate to balance the interests of investors and consumers. We do know that one of the big topical issues has been petroleum pump price, and the transportation component is one of the line items in the price build-up that Kenyans do pay for at the pump. So we're really looking at how do we then balance the interests of ensuring that we have a pipeline that is technically sound, that is maintained to standard, so that then we don't have any technical challenges when it comes to operation. We also look at the investment that KPC seeks to make in the 3-year tariff control period. What are their operation and maintenance costs? And we balance those as against the interest of the consumer to ensure we have a pump price that is affordable to consumers.
Giant telecommunications company Safaricom has left a section of its customers worried after the announced closure of its Two Rivers Mall retail center in Kiambu County. In a statement issued through its social media platforms on Tuesday, the company said the retail center will be closed from August 31st, while its customers were advised to utilize its self-service channels on its apps, chatbots, and access services from other outlets.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari. Kaluma King Herbal Lozenges zinazo nguvu maradufu kutuliza kikohozi, vidonda vya koo na mafua. Kaluma King ni shwari.
Tika mama huyo muharifu kaiba kuku zangu, vifaranga wangu na mayai zote pia kabeba. Aya, tika mama huyo.
Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
Want to know the meaning of a soft life? It's living with ease and accessing quality lifestyle while taking a swim. It's taking care of your body in a 5-star gym while you achieve your fitness goals. It's living in a serene and quiet neighborhood. It's about staying in a place with spacious driveways and ample parking. It's about living in a safe and secure environment. It's about convenient shopping. Soft life is living comfortable in affordable and yet an elegant space. It's everything stylish. Here's to introducing Great Rift Apartments, located at the heart of Nakuru City in Kisulisuli Estate, just a few minutes from the Central Business District. Great Rift Apartments, the hub of soft living.
Je, maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Flight Tech 47. I am your captain, David Ochola, and I'm taking you on a technical journey. Come with me. And remember, if you don't see it here, that's because it technically did not happen.
Every Saturday at 6:30 p.m.
Authentic, natural, planned. Transforming. Endless benefits. Slaty, purely Kenyan. Buy now on Jumia or Amazon.
Despite being visually impaired, he is a jack of all trades. It is our quest to find answers on how to take care of children with special needs and those with disability. You do not need to see musical notes to understand music, but rather to have your soul feel the vibe.
Actually, for us to make a wheelchair, we have to take measurements of the user.
After doing my assessment, I get to know the parent, I get to
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Let's get to the world of sports now. Dennis Otieno is with us in the studio. Dennis, good evening. What do you have for us from the world of sports tonight?
Good evening to